Here we are. We are live. Good evening from Israel and good morning, my wonderful host, Rose Hoyi. Boker Tov, good morning.
Good morning, Tova. This morning, we're introducing Gila. So Gila has survived a cancer diagnosis and found her body and her soul. So she will tell us more about herself in a few moments.
Oh, Yofi. Okay. Here we go. Hi. We are back. I'll take a bow for that one. Hi, Rose.
Hi, Tova. Now, Gila survived a cancer diagnosis and she wasn't really given a great deal of time to survive it. And she turned her life around and now she wants to share her story. So, Gila, first tell us a little bit about yourself and what happened, and then how things went for you afterwards. And now you're sort of talking to people around the world about your journey and how maybe they can turn their lives around. So, welcome, Gila.
Thank you so much, both of you. And thanks for everyone who's watching at the moment for being here. Right, so my name is Gila. I was 33 when I was diagnosed with cancer. And at the time I was working, I stopped working. I was in between works at the time. And I felt like I'm about to die. My energy level basically just went down and down and down all the time. And I went to my GP and I told him that I'm going to die. And he told me that I'm psychosomatic. And for about 4 months, I've been going from one specialist to another. None of them actually managed to diagnose my problem until I started doing my own research. And I arrived to my gynecologist and I told him, check if there's anything over there. And he said, no, everything on that department is okay, but I see that you suffer. And then he wanted me to tell him the symptoms. As soon as I told him the symptoms, he sent me to the other room to do an x-ray. That x-ray revealed that I had a tumor in the size of 3 times the size of my heart. So we're talking about if this is one heart and this is the second heart, third heart. We're talking about that size of a tumor that was wrapped around my heart and practically blocked my main artery. So I never had the main artery working practically. And with this founding, he was shocked. He actually told me that he'd never seen anybody alive with no main artery working. And from medical point of view, I can fall down and die any step I take. So that was a shocking moment. But it was just a shocking moment because the next moment I had a spiritual, you can call it like a spiritual situation where I went out of my body and I saw myself as soul, basically. And I came back to my body within a few seconds where no one actually realized that I went out of there. But I came completely different. I already agreed to die. But I had another, from my point of view, he said that I can fall down and die any step I take. When I'm coming back to my body, I decided that there are 4 steps. And for about 4.5 months, I was living the last 4 steps of my life, which practically put me in the here and now. There was no past, there was no future. There was the here and now. And from the here and now, we can change everything. And from the here and now, I start to create fun. I start to have fun from the next moment, once I'm actually getting into my body.
Is that when you met your little girl? Like, at what point did you like, hello, little Gila?
It wasn't that, because don't forget, let me just give the rough thing, and then we'll go into the inner child. What actually happened when I'm coming back to my body, I realized that if I'm going to die in 4 steps from now, who cares about my life? Whatever was until now, all of it was finished. And this is because I'm trying to have this interview with giving a lot of information for other people who are finding themselves in the same position of cancer. I really want to explain that point. A lot of people, when they've been diagnosed, they attach themselves to the life that they lived up to that point. I was free of that. And I was free of that because I realized that I can die any step I take. So I just, at that moment in the hospital, as I'm sitting on the treatment table, I hadn't had past anymore because it never really mattered. I had only the 4 steps to live. And just then, another thing happened, another stage happened, another step. I actually approached my inner self and my inner child and my soul, really, because I mean, inner child and all the rest of it is really our soul. And I said to her, until now, we were living my life when I decided what we're going to do. And you were really in prison. You were not allowed to be yourself. In the last 4 steps of my life, I give you the last 4 steps net for you. This is your journey. You go, you enjoy yourself, girl. You're free. And then the next question was, what do you feel like? What do you want to do? And she said, I want a joint. So I jumped off the table, the treatment table, and the doctor was shocked. I mean, he became white. And he's asking me, where the hell are you going? And I said to my drug dealer, I need a joint. And he was looking at me. And he was looking at me. And he said, didn't you understand what I just explained to you? So I looked at him back and I say, look, if you don't understand why I want a joint, could it be that you didn't understand what I told you? Because if I'm going to die, can I have the last... Can I have the last joint, basically? And from that point onwards, everything rolled very, very fast. And I was enjoying every single moment. Now, part of the reason why I enjoyed every single moment, as my mom driving me to my drug dealer, basically, which was living in the other side of London, that is completely another story in itself. My drug dealer was also a therapist who dealt with addiction. Right?
This is a whole nother show. This is a whole nother show.
Somewhere else.
And she was my best friend, basically. So I used to go to her to get drugs, and I used to get also, we used to sit for like 3 hours and talk, basically. So she was my therapist and my... She's not a real drug dealer. I mean, she's using it. She used to use it herself at the time. Anyway, on the way to her, I start to think, in this short time of life, in the last 4 steps of my life, what do I really want to do? That was a very important question that I asked myself. And the answer came, I want to die with a smile on my face. That's it. It was very realistic. It was very doable, basically. And once I decided that, and once I realized that that's what I want, then I had a mission. And my mission was to take anything that life threw on me and look for the funny side. Why? Because I had to enjoy myself all the time. Because I could die any moment. So if I
and
could
miss
die,
out. And
yeah,
miss out. And
it's
that
not,
wouldn't be good.
it wasn't missing out. It was,
Oh, okay.
I need to be happy now, because if death is coming, I'm ready. I'm with a smile.
Oh,
I enjoy
okay.
myself.
Makes
Okay.
perfect sense. It's very logical.
Yeah. And to tell you the honest truth, there's a huge secret in that. Because what actually happened later on, when I learned about cancer and I learned about the biology of cancer and everything, very quick, by the way, because I healed within 4.5 months, okay? But when I learned about all of this, what you really need to do in order to heal and in order to help your body heal the cancer, you just need to raise your vibrations. You need to be happy. The happier you are.
I just want to say, I mean, this is not people's first reaction, and usually it's the opposite. And then their whole chemical nature begins to shift, and they begin to create a neural pathway that says, this is bad, this is terrible, this is wrong, I'm a victim. So already you're shifting the consciousness, but it's not easy. So let's just continue.
It's not easy. It's just, I was lucky. I was lucky to be diagnosed at the end.
Wow.
I had to face death in any moment. And that set me completely into the right path, because as I'm leaving the doctor's office, I need to ask myself, okay, what do you want? What do you want to have in those 4 steps? Because it was very real. For 4.5 months, I was in my consciousness, I was walking the last few steps of my life. And because of that, because I chose, I want to die with a smile, that turned the whole thing. That's the reason why I said there's a big secret over here. What I do these days, I mean, for the last 25 years, ever since I healed myself, I'm teaching other people how to heal as well. Now, I have a bit of a problem over here. Why? Because most of people who've been diagnosed with cancer really want to take the subject of death really very far away from them. They hardly want to deal with that. They hardly want to talk about it. And if they mention anything about it, their friends and family will say, oh, no, don't talk about it, as if it's a voodoo magic word that once you use it, immediately you die. No.
Well said.
So what actually happened, the biggest teacher, I mean, if I'm looking at my experience with cancer, the biggest teacher is not cancer. The biggest teacher, it's his cousin that comes with it, which is called death.
So true.
What about fear?
It's the fear of death. It's the fear of all the things. And that's part of the reason why in the middle of my workshop, which I'm giving to people, we going through the step, which I'm calling it to accept to die. Accept to die. Because until you're not, as long as you're not accepting dying, you cannot really live fully. It's a magic thing. I call it like, this kind of box of medicine, which have this trigger against children, so children won't be able to open.
Yeah, like a lock, a safety lock.
Safety lock, exactly. And you need to push it down in order to open it. Like you're going exactly the opposite way in order to open
it. Down to open it.
Exactly.
Clever.
And that's exactly what I'm doing with the people who I'm teaching. We are going into death in order to release the fear, in order to be happy in the here and now, in order for you to be able to use all your energy for life.
Yeah.
Now, the biggest teacher is not cancer. The biggest teacher for life is death.
So true.
And
True.
now, because that's the reason why I call myself lucky. Why? Because I had to deal, the first thing I need to deal was not with cancer. I needed to deal with my death, which is coming. I mean, no artery, no main artery working, not even one blood going from my heart to my brain. I mean, I know that the doctors who, the surgeon that took the biopsy and opened 3 ribs in my chest and cut 3 ribs for that, he was actually asking me to talk about this, my case, in doctors' conferences, because he said this is, how would you call it? Not abnormal.
Unusual.
Unusual.
Unusual. Yeah.
Now, so if we just look at that, I mean, what actually happens there? Cancer, the death is the biggest teacher, and that's whom I received most of the wisdom from. Also, another thing, people don't realize it, but very, very close to, if you have a big darkness next to it, even the lightest light, the smallest light, will be big. It's extreme. Okay.
Contrast.
Exactly. Artist knows
Yeah.
it. Like artist using it, you know, like next to the white, you will have the black, in order to create that contrast, so we can actually see it better. And it's the same thing with death. What actually happens? We don't really die. We have one part of us which never really dies, which called our soul. Okay. Now, our soul, because it never dies, it's an eternal part of us. As soon as we are arriving close to death, our soul come and join us, because that part of us is the only one which is continue onwards. So really, if you're not afraid next to death, and then, because when you're afraid, you don't really see anything. When you're not afraid anymore from death, that's when you can open your eyes and you can actually see what is there. And what I found there was my soul, my eternal soul. Now, so the biggest light is really close to death. Only when you're afraid, you cannot actually enjoy it, you cannot actually utilize it, you cannot actually be in touch with that. And that's a big mistake from my point of view that many people with cancer does, because when they push death away from the horizon, they're really taking away their salvation and their connection to their soul, the connection to the real self. Now, why is it so important? Because the soul is the energy. When we are happy, when we are extreme happy, this is not the identification of who we are, that the brain is telling us you're this and that and the other. When you're extremely happy, that's your soul come and join you. Now, this is the energy of healing. And it's an energy that we are the only one who can create it, by connecting to that part of us. Because once we connect to that part of us, we have all the energy, we have all the fun, we have all the wisdom. And all of this, wait for them very, very close to death. So why wait until death? Well, let's just do the journey into accepting dying and learning from the master of life.
The soul.
Don't forget to tell the part. Wait, step back a minute, because your story was unusual because of the bypass. Can you go back there? Because that's just, when somebody understands that about their human body and the capability, that's joyful. And that's like, wow, I got reason to live. My body's an amazing, 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 you know, uh, tool. It's an amazing energy that I want to honor.
So don't forget that by that stage, I'm already connected to my soul.
Right.
I let my soul free.
Right.
And not only that, I tell her, you go and do whatever you want, kid. And I'm the grown-up, the brain, basically, who are used to deal with the society. I will look after you. I will clear your way. Okay? So there's another secret over here, because every little thing like that, don't forget that I'm already connected to my soul. So I'm already aligning myself. I never even got out of the doctor's office and I'm already aligned. I couldn't see it at the time. I could see it only when I'm looking backwards at what happened there, because everything happened so fast. What actually I did in that point, when I'm actually telling my brain to look after my soul and to give freedom to my soul, I'm employing the brain into helping the eternal part. It doesn't disturb me anymore. It's become part of the unit, part of the crew of healing.
Can you, Gila, can you describe what you actually mean? Because it sounds very esoterical, but on a daily basis, what does it mean?
Okay, on a daily basis. Whew, how can I put it very short? Because that's something which I'm teaching for about 20-something hours.
Okay, but just for an overview, because in a way, you know, you're in the taxi. Oh no, you've got your mother, and you're on your way over to get your joint.
Just before, I'm still in the hospital before I left.
Yeah, sure. But I'm just thinking, you know, like this joy is an inner joy, and I'm wondering how you actually display it on the outside. Put it that way.
I'm laughing. I'm enjoying myself. When I'm arriving to my drug dealer, I'm telling her, give me all the joints that you have, give me all the stuff that you have. And she say, why? I said, because I've just been diagnosed with cancer. And I'm laughing and I'm smiling and I'm hugging her and all the rest of it. And she says, so why are you happy? So I'm looking at her, why? Will it help me if I'll be sad?
Excellent. Good.
So logical. Yeah. I mean, but it's almost like we're not saying it to like put down people who are sad. It's like your reaction, your response was like a reality. It was like you weren't fighting with reality. We all tend to defenses and fight. Like, wait a minute, I gotta fight. No, you can't be true. Don't tell me that, doctor. Let's have a second opinion.
Yeah, but I didn't have that, because I'm clever enough to understand that a person with no artery functioning, I'm about to die. It doesn't matter if it's called cancer or anything else. I mean, I don't have main artery working. I don't have blood into my brain. Okay. So that's the reality. Once I accepted death, that's it. I'm not fighting with it no more. But because I'm not fighting with it, and because I'm releasing my inner child, which is my soul, all the wisdom, all the faculties, all the information is there. I'm aligned. And I'm aligned to the essence of me. And the essence of us are happy. Is happy. Okay? And I'm already aligned to that. And don't forget that on the way to my wonderful lady, who gave me the drugs, I'm already deciding that I want to die with a smile on my face. So I'm already aligned. So everything, like it happens so fast, because when you're aligned, things happening so fast. And that brings me into your question, Rose, because I started to deal with the brain and the soul. In the third module of my workshop, I'm actually taking people into the 3 drivers that we have inside. One of the drivers is our brain. I call him the most primitive driver, by the way. Okay. The second driver that we have is our soul, or inner child, or high soul, or the high master, or the inner voice, or whatever. All of those are in the same line of the soul, basically. All of those terminology, basically. The third driver is our body. Okay. Now, if you want to actually look at how cancer happened because the three drivers didn't work together in harmony. You know, I'm living in London at the moment, and in the underground, whenever you go to the underground, you hear that guy who is saying, mind the gap, mind the gap. Everybody's looking about, everybody's talking about cancer. Yes, cancer, no cancer. Yes, cells, no cells. No one talking about the gap that happens in how we work from our inside with the three drivers. We are a society, we call the modern society. The modern society is working much more. It's a brain society. The brain is running it. Now, who is this brain? Because compare to the three drivers, I mean, if you put him in comparison, the soul is connected to the whole universe. It has the information of the whole universe. Right here and now. If you just know how to communicate with it. With that part which is you, which is the essence of you. Your body, every DNA, every cell have DNA. Every DNA have the information of all your reincarnation, if you believe in that. The more I learned about the body, I learned that this machine is incredible. And I kept on admiring the architect. It's almost impossible to learn biology without admiring that architect. He created us a body that works without really, I mean, we're just interfering with the work of the body.
That's true.
If we let the body work,
you have to mention the bypass.
Yeah, just a minute. We'll get into it. If we learn really how the body is working, I mean, he doesn't tell us, he doesn't even want us to think or remember to breathe. He doesn't even trust us. If we will have to remember to breathe, we will die a million times a day.
It's so beautiful. It's so true. It's sad. It's true.
So the architect created diaphragm, like, you don't have any other choice. You breathe. The amounts of harmony in how the body is working, it's incredible. Think about it. Do you know that every time we put something in our mouth, our body needs to break it? And the way it's break it is with chemicals. Do you know that our body starts to produce those chemicals from our mouth, even before we put it in?
When we think about what we're going to eat, when we open the fridge.
Before you put it in your mouth, your body already creating the right chemicals to break that right exact food that you put in.
True.
Trust it? That's amazing. Now, what brought me into understanding, no, let me just finish that. Now, I just talked about the soul, and I talked about the body, and now I've talked about the brain. Who is the brain? What information does it have? The brain have information as old as you are. When we are born into this life, it's as if we have an empty computer. It's as if you go to the shop and you buy a computer. Yes, you have a computer at home, but it's empty. You need to put stuff into it in order for it to work. And that's exactly what happened with the brain. We're coming with empty brain practically. And now, for the first 3 years of our life, we start to create synopsis, or synopta, I don't know how you call it in
Synopsis.
English.
Yeah.
Which start to create the map of our brain. It's creating the map of our reality. How do we create it? If you look at children, and every mother will know it, she needs to read the same book again and again and again and again, and repetition creating that. Now, in the age of 3, we have another problem. We start to recognize us in the mirror as us. That's the birth of the ego. I'm separated than anybody else, because until that point, the child don't think he's separated.
That's right.
He's still one. So in the age of 3, he started to create the ego. And later on, I mean, this brain is running on automatic pilots on whatever we learn. And it's the most primitive of our 3 drivers. Now, what happened in our modern society, and it's no wonder that so many people have cancer. Why? Because our society it's a brainy society. It's running by the brain, not by the emotions, not by the feeling. Not only that, the brain, because it have the ego, his friend the ego, he wants everything. Right? Now, the brain doesn't really have to do a lot of things. He just needs to think about it and say, right, I want this and I want to be first, because you have the ego. Who needs to do that? The body. The body becomes the slave of our brain. Now, the brain doesn't like our soul because we call it inner child. It's not a child. It's a childlike. I don't like to call it inner child. I like to call
yeah, childlike is so appropriate. Yeah.
Why? Because it's the most clever, but because it's free and because it haven't got time, it's a childlike. It's not predictable. It doesn't talk about the future. It haven't got future. It doesn't have past. Because it's in the moment, exactly like a 3-year-old kid. But it's not a 3-year-old kid in the faculties and understanding or knowledge, because there is the highest knowledge around.
Right.
Now, the brain doesn't like it. Why? It's the same thing if you need to go to work every day with a 2-year-old kid. If you need to go even to see your bank manager with a 2-year-old kid, he will drive you crazy. You won't be able to do the meeting. Why? He will take the attention. He's unpredictable and all the rest of it. So what do we do with the children? We put them with a babysitter and we go to the bank manager with our brain. Okay? So the brain doesn't like the inner child or the childlike soul, and he's locking it. He's saying, no, you cannot do this, and no, you cannot do that. If my soul will say, I want to do this and this, my brain will say, you can't. We need to do this and this and that, and we don't have time, we don't have...
And that's the conflict. That's the conflict.
Exactly. That's the gap.
That's the gap.
That's the gap. And who is suffering the most? Our body. It's indicating from here to doomsdays, but we're living in a society that tells us that there's nothing inside us. If you have any problem, you need to go to somebody external than you. We have experts, we have doctors, we have psychologists. We can fix anything but from the outside. You cannot fix it yourself. Excuse me? I'm the driver of this vehicle. And I have another 2 drivers which no one told me about. Right? So all of this is happening and our body is indicating to us. No one even told us about it. We just know when he's indicating when he's hungry, when he needs to go to the toilet or stuff like that. That's it. Excuse me. We have an intelligent body over here that indicates to you all the time where he is. And we're just like blind and deaf. We don't hear, we don't listen. We're too busy making schedule of our brain. about what he needs to achieve and where he needs to go. And that's the basic problem that I found. Now, because I was in a very special situation, why special situation? The doctors in my state didn't even believe that I will arrive to the biopsy, let alone to the treatment. It was a non-Hodgkin's. In 1995, now they know how to deal with non-Hodgkin's. In 1995, there was not really proper tested drugs for non-Hodgkin's. For Hodgkin's, they had. For non-Hodgkin's, they didn't. So I was basically a test bunny, okay, for their treatments. And I'm not a bunny of anyone. If I'm a bunny of anything, a test bunny, I'm going to be mine. And that's what I did.
It's a mouse. It's really a mouse or a rat.
Or whatever. I mean, by the way, within the 4.5 months that it took me to heal, I fired 3 professors. The second one was very, very funny because, I mean, I came into his office and I told him that it's me who have the responsibility for my body and my life and my healing. And he's a very important part of the crew. He hated it. It was under his ego to become one of the crew. He was so used for people who come and say, please save me, I'll do anything you want. His ego got so hurt that he decided to do his best to bring me back into, to behave like the rest of his customers. So he used to run after me in the corridors and he used to say to me, you're going to die.
What?
So fearless, so fearless. That must be amazing marijuana, fearless. But really, it sounds like you're beyond the marijuana and just Gila.
It wasn't, remember, I already accept dying.
Right.
My favorite subject in the world is talking about death. So he's running after me and I start to laugh, okay? And I turn around to him and I say, right, so do you. Because I'm gonna die. Have you ever seen anybody alive over here until the... And then I turned around to him and I say, you know, there was a Tibetan guy that lived until the age of 300. But you know what happened to him in the end? He died. He didn't get the joke, obviously. He was afraid when I told him that he's going to die as well. Because you see, our brain in this modern society do not deal with death, do not deal with all of this subject. And it's like surprised that people are dying. Excuse me? Have you ever seen anything in this life that doesn't have...
It didn't die, yeah.
Didn't die. Even the Tibetan. What does it matter if you live it for 1,000 years or for 500 years or for 5 years? Did you enjoy yourself? That's the point. But I mean, they had very bad time with me in hospitals because hospitals used to make me laugh. It looks so ridiculous because what actually happens in hospitals, they don't really heal cancer. They fight the symptom. They do not touch. Furthermore, I mean, this is beyond logic because every single treatment they gave me or they give others, destroying the immune system. Where is cancer? Where is the biological root of cancer? Is it in the tumor? No. It's in our immune system. If you want to heal cancer, you need to bring your immune system back to function. As simple as that. And yet, once we go into hospital, all the treatments destroying the immune system. And I look at them and they're becoming so serious and they're in the drama And I'm happy because if I'm going to die, I'm going to be happy now. Even if I'm in a hospital. And that's the thing, that's a very logical thing that I came up with. Because I say, if you need to go to hospital, you cannot stop healing yourself in hospital. So I used to have fun in hospital. And I used to call them, the reaction was so funny that I used to call them the theater of the absurd in the human comedy. That's how I used to call hospitals. And I used to go to them to see their show. I loved it. I used to roll on the floor from laughter from all they did. Seriously. So actually, hospitals helped me to heal. Not with the drugs, no, with the stupidity.
Well, you found the gift. You found the gift.
I found gift. It was pouring on me. You don't understand. I'll just give you an example. With the doctor, just before I fired him, the one who told me that I'm going to die. I'm sitting and I'm taking chemo, and obviously the chemo is to turn it into chemo ecstasy in my brain. By the way, the treatments, the chemo, never hurt my immune system. That's the reason why I designed the chemo ecstasy, in order to protect my immune system. My immune system never got hurt, never reduced. And because of that, I could destroy, I could get rid of such a big tumor with only 3 treatments. After 3 treatments, I fired him. I fired the professors. Okay? Is it a miracle? No, it's not a miracle. As I learned the cancer, I learned the biology of the chemo, and I learned how it's working, and I just stopped it from harming, and I had fun while I did it. And by the way, one of the side effects of chemo ecstasy, no side effects.
So how did you stop it from harming?
That's a secret that I need to teach it. You basically need to stop the immune system. The problem is not the chemo. The problem is when the immune system is attacking the chemo. And when it does that, it starts to manipulate, it starts to create a new immune system. Anything that is going to be, how do you call it? Any cell which is going to metasize, how do you call it?
Mitose.
Mitosis?
Mitosis.
Any cell which is going to be, which is in a stage of mitosis in your body while chemo is around, will get hurt.
Yeah. That's the whole idea of chemo.
Exactly. Now, if my immune system starts to get into this fight, it's going to get hurt.
Yeah. And?
I stopped it. My immune system never got involved. I came to such a degree, I call it bodish. I know how to talk to my body to such a degree that I could close my immune system and I could turn it up and I could shoot it up. I teach it.
So you welcome the chemo. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's more than welcome.
Like in welcoming the chemo, your body doesn't need to react.
Yeah, but it's more than that. It's actually on a level that I knew if it's working, because if I had side effects, I knew that my immune system went out and I need to bring it back. From a movie. It's a whole thing. It takes me another 60 hours to teach it.
Okay.
And by the way, the last person I taught chemo ecstasy, she was 67 at the time. And one day she calls me after the first chemo, after I train her, and we do exercise much before. I mean, I need a person about 2 weeks before just to train him for the chemo, because it's a very specific work that needs to be done. And she calls me about 2 days after the first chemo, and she says, "You don't understand. I just created a new side effect." And I say, "What side effect?" Say, I'm horny. What? And she was so surprised. She said, I closed my sexuality for the last 10 years. And suddenly I have chemo and I get horny. So it's all possible, but you need to understand how it's working. It's not shooting in the dark. It's really learning. When I'm teaching chemo ecstasy, the reason why it takes me so long, it's because I need to explain exactly how, we need to know exactly how the chemo works. We need to understand exactly the problem of the chemo. And then we need to start to have conversation with our body. We need to learn bodish. Okay? And we need to learn how to do all of that. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to train before a person goes to chemo. It's not like just give your vein. No, because if you give your vein and you're not prepared, your immune system is going to be harmed. As simple as that. I learned how chemo works. I learned how cancer works. And cancer is so simple, really. It has nothing to do with the symptom. It have everything to do with your immune system, and your immune system have everything to do with your emotion. And that's the reason why in the beginning I say the secret was that I accepted to die. Because once I accepted to die, I never fought anymore. I could be happy. The more, and because if I'm going to die, I want to die with a smile. That decision, I was creating energy for my immune system all the time. I can tell you in one sentence what you need to do in order to heal cancer. You need to turn into an energetic millionaire.
A what millionaire?
Energetically millionaire.
Oh, okay.
For sure.
That's it. It's not what you need to do. You need to be happy to the extreme. Now, in order to be happy to the extreme, you cannot follow anybody else's steps. Why? Because
just your own.
Whatever makes me happy will not make you happy.
Yeah.
Some person, some kind of people would need to go to the Himalaya and get on a mountain, and that's when they're becoming happy. Another person needs to hang himself from the tree upside down. Let me be in bed with my joints and stuff, and I'm the happiest. Okay? You need to find out what makes you happy. And what makes you happy is life, because the real medicine for cancer is life to the extreme.
Yeah.
Why?
Because what you're saying is that somewhere life was shut down in the earlier period, and that's why the cancer became, because cancer is really just an overgrowth of cells. It's not, so obviously the immune system, or the body sees that it needs to do some extra work, so it gives you all this extra cells, but of course they then turn out to block your life. So when you go back and you see that your life has been shut down, I think that's what you're saying, it opens up a new expanse, and you don't need to grow all those extra cells to save you from whatever disaster you thought you were facing.
You're right, but I will put it in a different way, if I may. Actually, I want to remind all of us a biological fact. Each and every one of us creating cancer cells on a daily basis.
That's right.
That's a biological fact. Okay? Now, the reason why I don't have cancer is because my immune system are dealing with my cancer cells on a daily basis. Now we're getting into biology, by the way. Okay? Now,
I love it.
What actually happens, everybody is asking where the cancer came from. Excuse me, it's not even the right question. The right question would be, what happened to my immune system that it stopped dealing with those cells when they were small, when they were yet accumulating? Now that the tumor is big, even 5 millimeters of tumor, we are talking about few millions of cells. Okay? Don't forget that cell is something we don't see in a naked eye. Even if I put 100 cells on your palms, you won't see them. Okay? It's so small. Now, what actually happens is the real question is, what happened to my immune system that stopped dealing with those cells?
Yeah.
When they were small. And what we find out is that the cancer don't start with the cancer. Cancer usually starts with depression or a shock, massive shock, even being redundant from your work sometimes. I mean, we are reacting, we are living human beings. Each and every one of us react differently to different things. And even sometimes, even the smallest things can get a person into depression. Now, when we exercise depression for a long period of time, what actually happens, we are reducing the energy of our body. The moment we reduce the energy of our body, our immune system needs to stop working on some of the jobs that it does because it haven't got enough energy to do them. Now,
that's a nice way of putting it.
Simple. Now, by the way, the first thing, if my immune system is lacking energy, the first job it will stop doing is dealing with my cancer cells. Why? Because the dealing with the cancer cells, it's a daily work for my immune system. It's the most natural thing that my immune system does on a daily basis. The moment it doesn't have the energy, it will rather send the extra energy that they still have to the other side of the immune system, which deal with things that come from the outside, germs and all the rest of it. This is much more important work for our body to do in case it's on a lower energy force than actually dealing with cancer cells, because cancer cells is part of the inside part of the body. That's okay. Once we will get the energy, we will do that. That can wait.
I want to say one thing to our listeners.
That's from the point of view of the
if anybody, to take away, a take-home insight, which of course is something Rose and I talk about, is something Dr. Sarner talks about. The knowledge is power. The knowledge that you developed. Forget the happiness and the joy, and that you decided that you were going to be in partnership with your life and your death, and what gave you happiness was to know what's going on. And we talk to people, it's so true, to know about their arthritis, to know about their headache, to understand the neuro, like it's not natural, because people, they separate themselves from the knowledge, but it becomes, the way you're talking about it, is it right, Rose? It almost sounds like it's a natural step you would take to become knowledgeable about what's happening. It makes sense, but it's not the first thing people do, and yet it's a very important tool for healing.
It's the basics that every person with cancer needs to know. I'm not a healer. I'm not a therapist. I'm not even pretend to heal people. If they want to heal themselves, they need to come to me and I will teach them. It will take about 60 hours or more, but I will teach them everything they need to know until they start to. I'm not going to tell them what to do, by the way. I never do. I will teach them how to speak to their body and how to speak to their soul. Those two parts give them the exact information that they need to know. That's what I'm doing. And I'm giving them knowledge. My workshop is basically three modules. The first one, we start with biology. We end the first module when I'm connecting biology to emotions. Okay? Every part of every emotion that we have can either create energy or draw energy down from our body. So if I'll go back, and then the second module, sorry, my head is running before me. The second module, we are talking about the fears. Because before we go into the inner work of the three drivers, we need to stop the fears. The fears will disturb you. Why? Because fear is the food of cancer. People don't realize that. When we are afraid, cancer is happy. Fear draws down our energy, our life energy. Whatever draws down our life energy helps the cancer grows, because if we are reducing the energy, we are reducing our immune system. The moment we reduce our immune system, it's just like you take off the cops from the streets, the thieves are happy.
Good analogy.
And the cancer is an energetic thief. Cancer is so simple. People really don't understand cancer, really. Cancer is just a silly cell that all the things that it wants to do is to grab energy, steal energy, and do the mitosis and grow.
Mitosis. And multiply.
And multiply.
Reproduce. Instead of apoptosis, which is self-destruction.
Yeah.
Wow. That's what it does. That's the only thing you do. Okay? So why are we fighting with it? We just need to give the energy to our immune system to come back to do its job. So what I'm saying cancer did not start with a cell. Cancer started when we, without us knowing it, were living for a long period of time. And by the way, this is what I'm underlying from the sentence: long period of time. We are very adaptable. The architect who created this body and created our life created it in a way that we can be very adaptable. You can be depressed for a month. You cannot be depressed for all of this, because you will adjust. In the end of the day, you will adjust.
And depression becomes the norm, you mean?
Once the depression, or once the lower energy is being practiced for a long period of time, that's when we are changing the ability of the immune system to start to work. And we actually, it's like, okay, Tova, you're in Israel, I'm an Israeli, I was in the army as well. We know that we are treating army in a different way than I think most of the world. Okay? What happens if Israel will take half of the budget of the army and cut it down? The army will have to stop doing things. Where will the army stop doing? Will it stop doing in the front, where it's the most danger? Or will they actually take away from jobs from the offices and the inside system of how they work? Of course, they will take it from they will not touch the border. That's important. And that's exactly how our immune system works. You know, in Israel, we call it Tzahal, which is the army to protect Israel. You know how I used to call my immune system? Tzahag, the army that protect my body. I had white soldiers who were protecting in a much better form. I'm not a cell. I keep on telling to people, you cannot fight cancer. You're not a cell. In order to fight cancer, you need to be in the size of a cell, and you're not.
This makes perfect sense.
Okay? The only one who can fight your cancer is your body. That's another misconception that many people with cancer have. They're fighting cancer. What the hell are you fighting? Really, seriously. This is one of the questions I have ever since I've been diagnosed. I don't understand what they do. Okay? Now, the thing is that your body has cancer. You don't have cancer. It's something, I'll repeat it because it's a bit difficult to understand. Your body is suffering from cancer many, many months before you even knew that you had cancer. Who is suffering from the cancer? Not you. It's your body. Then you went to the doctor, and the doctor told you that you have cancer, and you started a big drama. I have cancer. No, you don't. Only one part of you have cancer, and it's the part which called the body. So why are you fighting your cancer? You need to support your body.
So it's with every disease and everything. Their body has the headache. Their body has the stomach.
I don't know about any other disease. I am just expert about what I went through, which is cancer. Okay? I know that with cancer, the person who comes with the drama and say, I have cancer. No, you don't. Your body have cancer. And what you're supposed to do, you're not supposed to fight your cancer. You're not a chemical. You're not chemotherapy. Chemotherapy, I understand, fights cancer because it's on a biological level, biochemical level. Okay? Doctors are doing with the chemo, that's fine. It's on a biological level. But what are you doing when you're fighting cancer, for God's sake? I'm fighting cancer. Why? What you need to do, you need to heal, and you need to support the body. And the more happier you are, the more your body will be supported to do its work.
Because cancer doesn't like happiness.
Of course.
It says, I'll go do my job, go be happy. I'll go in the body and do my job and just be an immune system.
Look at this, even from Israel point of view. You just went through the time that we just had war in Israel, okay? What do the citizens in the country, what do the Israeli do when there's war?
They come together.
Do they take a gun and they go to the thing? No, that's the army job.
Right.
But what the citizens do, they support the army. They make cakes and they make cookies and they write letters with big hearts and with many hearts, and they give the support to their soldiers. That is the job of a person with cancer. Not to fight the cancer, you cannot see it. You're not a cell. But to support the part of you which have all the ability to do so. And that's what I teach me.
Do people actually fight cancer?
I have no idea how. I'll tell you my story. I mean, after the drug dealer, when I went directly into the hospital. Okay? My mother took my drugs away because she said, don't mix drugs. She doesn't understand about drugs, neither the doctor. That's what I do. Because as soon as she left me in the hospital and the joint went down, my adrenaline shoot up. The joint relaxed the adrenaline. And everything, and the only thing I really wanted to do was to roam and to run in the corridors because I was full of adrenaline. And I knew that I shouldn't, because if I would, I could burst something and I could die.
But you weren't scared to death.
Yeah, but I mean, I start to have fun. I don't want it to stop. That's the reason why I healed, because I had fun. Let's continue with the fun. Now, I was in a borrowed time. I wasn't living my life for anybody else's life. I was in a borrowed time, and in a borrowed time, you're free. I missed my cancer for years because of the freedom I had in it. People don't realize it and they don't understand it. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, So as I'm sitting over there in the hospital and I realize that I cannot run the corridors, I start to ask myself, what should I do? Now, our surrounding, they're all talking about fighting cancer. So my brain gave me the information. You need to fight the cancer. I said, no problem. I'll fight the cancer. That was my first reaction. 2 seconds after, I find myself like this. And I'm looking at my fists. And I'm looking at the Rambo eyes, which I'm giving to the wall in front of me. What the hell are you doing? Except of just quizzing and stretch and how do you call it, to put in
Stress? No.
Yeah. You just stressed your whole body.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you did. Cancer is not on the wall in front of you. Cancer is inside here. So unless you're going to punch yourself inside, you don't really fight anything. And then the next thought was, but every person with cancer which I've met up to that point said that he's fighting cancer. And then I came with the idea like, Gila, you're so stupid. Everybody knows how to fight cancer. You don't. Just leave it. And I did. Now, what happened when you don't chase something? You find it because you don't put the attention onto it. As soon as I say, you stupid, leave the idea, you don't know how to fight, the next thing happened, I have a sentence being dropped, practically dropped in my head. And the sentence said, know your enemy.
Who was the enemy? Who was the enemy? There was no war. Who was the enemy?
Remember that the thought before was that I need to fight the cancer.
Right, right.
If I need to fight, there's enemy, right? It's another part of the same thought.
Mm-hmm.
Now, know the enemy start to sound so logical. And then I realized that's exactly why the doctors wanted me in the hospital. Why? Because they want to capture some cancer soldiers from my body and interrogating them under the light in a petri dish, you know? That's exactly what they do.
They wanted to write a chapter in a book. They wanted to write a chapter in a book.
No, before the doctors even start to fight the cancer, and the only people who do fight cancer are the doctors. Why? Because they are fighting on a cellular, on a biochemical level. They're trying to be the immune system, but my immune system is doing it much better. That's what I realized.
So with all this, which you're unique.
Let me just finish that part. Sorry. So what actually happens once I realized that, from that moment onwards, when I stopped fighting and I start to learn my cancer, I start to create a list what cancer likes and what cancer hates. It's so easy to heal cancer, seriously, because the only thing you need to do is the things that cancer hates. That's it.
I'm applying this to every condition because a lot of our listeners have lots of different autoimmune diseases, and it's across the board. It's the same information. There's things that your headache likes and things that your arthritis likes and things that it doesn't. It makes sense, Rose, doesn't it? It's a practical, maybe like a practical way to understand. I'm gonna, when I'm depressed, my headache likes it. When I go out for a run, my headache doesn't like it, so it doesn't come back. Like it could be a very simple way people could maybe understand the new neural pathway. But you created a new neural pathway right away.
It's not a new neural pathway. It's learning your drivers. I'm actually, in a funny way, I'm saying that I'm teaching people how to drive. Because until now, they didn't drive it correctly. Now let's learn. Once we start to learn about how to drive, we need to learn how the body works and how we can communicate with it. That's called bodish. We need to have conversation with our soul, because that's where the information and the guidance, the real guidance, is coming. And we need to learn how to stop the manipulation of the brain and to reduce the brain back to its real original state. We don't hate the brain. Yes, the brain took over and drove us to cancer. But the brain is very big part of the three drivers, and we need to drive the three of them in harmony. So we need to understand how the brain is working, and we need to reduce its work and to put him in the back seat. If I'll try to put the imagery, is as if I'm teaching them to sit in the driver's seat, to take off the brain from the, first of all, from the driver's seat.
Right. The brain
Put it
should
in the
not
back
be
seat.
driving. The brain should not be driving.
Of course not. But this
Where's
is
the heart in all this? The heart
in the brain society that we live in, there's hardly any heart. But the heart is part of the soul, by the way, because
right.
that's the place where the soul lies, okay? Or with the inner child or all the rest of it. Now, and so we need to take the brain to the back seat. We need to sit on the driver's seat, and we need to take the inner child or the soul to sit on top of us, because we're going to drive it together. Now, the actual vehicle is the body. So we need to listen to it. We're listening more to our cars than we listen to our body. There are people that if the engine in their car will just go, immediately they will stop, they will check, they will realize, Our body can do all those kind of funny noises from here to doomsday. No one listen.
So true. Because
And
they're not in touch with that. It's like what we're teaching, what we want people to know is like, so not only to have the knowledge, I'm just putting out these sort of tools, these insights, they'd have to have the knowledge. And, the one thing you said that Rosa says all the time, says all the time, we are made for love. And if we could stay with that basic,
Which part of you loves?
My heart and soul.
Your heart and soul. Can your brain love?
If I tell it to.
He will pretend that he does, because the brain doesn't have emotion.
Well said.
Brain is our computer. Brain is the tool that is over here in order to allow us to be around other people and to be in the reality which we called material reality. Okay? But because of the ego, he said, I'm the only one. Excuse me, but the brain and the ego are going to die the moment you stop breathing. And the body. The only part that continues is your soul. So why are you giving so much power to this brain? All the fear, by the way, all the fear of death is coming from our brain.
So true. That's a take home.
Our soul wants to go home. This is a silly world for her.
It's a hallway, they say. It's just a hallway.
Yeah. A real place is at home. When I took a workshop to the desert of Sinai, reason why I'm going so much to Sinai, a month after I healed, I took a visa for 1 year and I went to the desert and I rented a beach, and I was living, and I built a house on the beach, a hut basically. And I was living with the Bedouins for a year. They're the most clever people I've ever met. Compared to our stupidity more than life, they have the real knowledge. They carry the real knowledge. And it's true to anyone who is living in nature. Okay? They're healing themselves. You know how many times I've seen a Bedouin sick, like I don't know what, and they will they will wrap themselves in a blanket. They don't want anybody to come next to them and no one to touch them. The following morning, they're completely fine.
Wow.
When a Bedouin have a bit of problems with his mind, He will disappear. He won't say hello. He won't say goodbye. He will disappear. He will come back after 2-3 days. Where has he been? In the desert, blurring in nothing, into what we call meditation. They don't call it meditation. They just go and blur and hear the inside. A Bedouin say, when the desert speak, I become quiet, which in Hebrew it sounds nice, because to speak and desert is the same way that we say it. Medaber v'midbar. Kotova. So the Bedouins say, when the desert, when כשהמדבר מדבר, אני שותק. When the desert is talking, I become quiet. And that's another thing which I'm teaching my people who comes to me for the workshops. I teach them that our brain is noisy. Our brain is the same thing if I take you to India and I put you in the middle of Delhi. The same noise. Our soul and body, they whisper. If you really want to listen to your body and soul, you need to be quiet.
So true.
As simple as that. And you need to learn how to stop the brain. By the way, artists knows how to do it. Artists never work from their brain. They don't. Brain cannot be inspired.
True.
I'll keep trying.
Your soul can be inspired. Brain is like a computer. He can copy. He can go after you. He can create something similar to what you did, but it cannot create from the start because it doesn't know how. So creation is part of our soul, of our inner.
It's a spark.
Yeah.
It's called a spark, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rose.
And by the way, that's exactly what they say about the life, that we have only the spark of God. Our soul is not the part of the soul which is in our body is just a spark. The biggest part of our soul is really still up there. That's the reason why we're connected to everything. But I don't want to go into that because this is too
another show.
That's another thing altogether about how the soul is working. So what I want to say, the place where the cancer started was in the way we drove our emotions.
Wow, that's important. This is take home. Let's say that again. Where the cancer started is the place where
we didn't drive correctly in our emotions. Okay? And plus there's another wish. There's a wish to die. Now, it's not, I had cancer not because I was sitting over there and saying, oh, I want cancer. Oh, I want cancer. No, that's not how cancer happens. But if I wake up every day for a long period of time and say, oh, I don't want to wake up. I don't want to be here. I don't want this. This is a message to your subconscious that it's actually saying, I don't want to be here. That's what your subconscious hears. And your subconscious will find a way to create the cancer to give you the chance. You don't want to be here? Fine, let's go. Now, this is another part which I'm teaching. What are the messages that you give? Because we all the time give messages. Our subconscious listens to every single thing. Listen to every single word we say, every reaction that we have about what other people say, everything. We are being recorded. Now, the subconscious is taking the information and it's creating solutions for what it sees, which is another part. I mean, everybody's talking about chemotherapy, doctors, blah, 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 blah. What about the messages you give to your subconscious in the here and now?
Say that again. Say it again.
Okay, everybody's dealing with doctors and treatments and fighting cancer and blah, blah, blah. But no one really takes care about what is the message you give your subconscious now, in the here and now, as they after they've been diagnosed.
Sure. And that also works for everyone who has got any somatic pain.
Might be. I'm not dealing with that just because, I mean,
Sure, but we are. So I want to share that with everyone
absolutely.
so that they'll remember
Yeah.
that that's a very important message.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I learned that in cancer, we have 2 parasites, not 1. The first parasite is the cancer. Why it's a parasite? Because it doesn't create its own energy. It's basically stealing energy from my body. That's the reason why we call it a parasite. Okay? The second parasite is worse. You know who is the second parasite? I discovered it was me.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I'm the one in charge of creating energy for my body to work. I'm the financer of the energy of my body.
You're the banker.
I'm the banker. I'm the one who brings the dough home, you know. If our body haven't got the energy, it cannot function. Now, when I know how to drive emotionally after my cancer, here for the last 25 years, I don't have cancer. How come? Do you think I wasn't depressed? For 15 years, I was crying every day. I was trying to get pregnant and I couldn't. How come I don't have cancer? It's because still, even though that I was depressed and I was going to all those places, I was giving the right message to my subconscious still in the same time. I don't have to operate. I don't need to be in healing mode. I was in healing mode for 4.5 months. I created a new driver, a new automatic pilot. Every 5 minutes for 4.5 months, every 5 minutes, I will, in the beginning, I need to close my eyes. Afterwards, I will just turn my attention to my body and I check if it's relaxed or if it's tensioned. If it's under tension, immediately I will relax it. Why? Because I realize.
Again.
Because I realize.
What would you say? We're so connected, me. How would you tell your body was tense? What would you feel?
I will, in the beginning, I'm teaching this for other people and they're doing it all the time. Okay? One of them really took me seriously. The one person from Elat really took me seriously. Her name is Tamara. Because I keep on saying, I did it without a watch. These days we have a watch. We can actually put a program that every 5 minutes can give you a certain noise in your computer that you travel with you everywhere. And she did it. She went and she found the application and she took it down. And every 5 minutes she had this kind of little nice voice. And when she heard that voice, she will close her eyes in the beginning. After about 3 days, you don't really need to close your eyes anymore to do that. And she used to scan her body and to find if there's any tension. That's easy to do. And if she found the tension, she will immediately relax it. Why? Why did I do it? And I did it every 5 months for 4.5 months. Every 5 minutes for 4.5 months. Why did I do it? Because I needed to deal. People dealing with cancer, they're fighting cancer. They don't realize that they need to heal the second parasite. The second parasite, it's me. I need to heal me.
Wow.
I need to stop disturbing my body from healing.
You need to move out of the way. You need to move out of the way.
I need to move out of the way. Now, how do I move out of the way and correct it? I need to help my body, not only move out. I need to help it. Now, if I'm stressed, and I can be stressed because of anything, people don't realize how words are important. Why? Because every word we hear changes your biochemical level of your body. Every word. Okay?
Because we react to that word, or we react or respond, and that's chemical.
You can, and if it's giving you a good feeling, that word, you become open and relaxed. If it, let's say you don't like that word, your body will just react, and it will just lock in some areas. And the next word, it will do exactly the same thing in different places. Okay.
Could I elaborate on that and
Yeah.
mention that the words are the words that are said to ourselves, not only the words that are said to us, but the words that are said to ourselves create that reaction. And then by being aware that you're doing it all the time, and it's almost like you're feeding those cruel words to yourself as though it's a good thing. And then, of course, the body then goes into tension, and then the backache happens, or the leg ache, or the shoulder pain, or the headache, etc., etc. So what Gila is saying is, by doing that body scan regularly and joyously, really, and seeing that your body can let go if your mind will be in tune with your body.
I took it on all levels, but yes, you're right.
Yeah.
And I'm teaching it on all levels, because the first level is to recognize it. Then, if I had time in the same moment, I will go and find out what made me tense. Because this is a clue to the belief system which I have in my mind. So you can take that, so you can take that work as deep or as low as you want. This is your inner world. You can go as deep as you like, but I'm teaching you how you can actually find that information. Okay, so anyway, that Tamari from Elat, who decided to take that application and did it, she did it for 2 weeks. Her phone every 5 minutes go beep and give this kind of sound, and she used to do it. After 2 weeks, she's sending me a message. This is insane, she say. I'm so happy. I've never seen happier. I've never been happier in my life. Is this going to last? People don't realize, but when we stop, you see, you mentioned something very important. You said that if my body is tensed, I can release it on any part which I want. I can release it directly on the body, just telling, relax.
Yeah, let go.
Let go.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that created, because I did it for 4.5 months, it created an automatic pilot in me.
And like a new pathway? You mean
Yes, new automatic pilot. Because we don't realize, we never really do things. We created automatic pilots to do things. Okay. Now, my new automatic pilot of after the cancer was, I cannot go lower than a certain level of stress, because my body will scream. Because I took up the rough by the 4.5 months of exercising this. I took up the rough. Now, if my rough used to be here, now my rough is here. So on that level, my body will already start to scream. It will not really allow it to come to that point. And I'm not doing nothing. I just created the new automatic pilot 25 years ago when I had the cancer. I'm very lazy. I'm not about, oh, you need to look after this. No, you need to be free.
Gila, there's a Liliana Alon who's written a lovely thing about lung cancer. Did you see that?
Liliana came to learn the workshop with me in the desert.
Yeah.
wow.
Liliana is amazing. I just taught her 3 days, but she walked the walk. She's happy. You know, when she wrote me her letter, there was one sentence over there that she wrote, which that's the sentence, the little sentence which I'm looking for to know if it sunk in or didn't. And the sentence that she wrote was, cancer became my friend. After 3 days with me in the desert, cancer became her friend. And I knew she got it all in. And she have an amazing life now.
So another take-home insight and would be,
your disease.
Look, I call it to fall in love with your body and to love your pain. And I know, I mean, Rose, what would you say? How would you frame it?
Well, you've done a good job.
No, but I want to hear. I want to hear from down under.
From down under.
Self-acceptance, it's because everybody hears it different. Some people, what do you mean accept or love? I can't love. Like, I can't, how can I love my pain? They say, how can I love my pain? I'm like, I know it's not easy. Like, it's like it's not easy for a lot of people. There's this fear of letting go. Like this is another show. There's the fear of the experience of the fear. That's worse than the fear. There's a lot of fear, a lot of defense. You sounded like you had no defenses. There was no defenses up except, what do you mean you're not taking me to get my marijuana? That was a defense. But
I'm going to die. Who cares? I'm going to die. The beautiful thing about death is that you're so clear. When death is around, you're so clear about what you don't want to do ever again. And with this list, you know exactly what you do want to do.
Like the bucket list.
That's it. There's no question about it no more. It's not like, yeah, no, maybe. You know.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
But that's the reason why I call it the biggest teacher. Death is a bigger teacher than the cancer.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll give you, just for you two, because you're dealing with other diseases, with other illnesses and pain, I will give you my reasoning why I loved my pain. Cancer did not create me any pain. What created me pain was the operations for the biopsy. They had to call a heart surgeon in order to take a small biopsy. He cut me twice. He cut me over here in the end of my neck because I asked him not to leave signs of his job. And then he actually broke 2 or 3 ribs in my chest in order to get over there. And even then he said, I just went and I took a little bit and I ran away because I could kill you. Why he could kill me? Because that's exactly what Tova is waiting for it for almost all the interview. Because my body created bypass. All the little veins in my chest, he enlarged it and he created more in order to rush blood to the brain. Otherwise, I would die. By the way, that turned me into understanding the body. Because when I realized that, I said, my body knows what to do. Better than the doctor. The doctor was still searching.
And what's beautiful, another take home, is the body's always searching to get better, for good,
Always.
to love. It's like, like it's made for love, that this is the body's path. This is its natural
Body
path.
has 2 parts. And we need to realize both of them. The one path is exactly what he said. The body all the time balance whatever energy you have, and it does the best out of it, and is healing all the time. The second path that they have, if our body realizes that it cannot survive, it will shut off the system. And that's why it was so important for me to give all the time the message and the energy for my body, because if my body will collapse and come to that decision, it could actually stop everything. So that is the 2 things that we need to know. But I was talking about the pain. So anyway, when he cut my ribs, I don't know if anybody experienced cutting of bones. It's bloody hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
I got out of the operation with morphine in my blood, and I hate that drug. By the way, you know what morphine is? It's heroin. I prefer a joint than a heroin. Like, it's illogical the way they deal with drugs. They don't understand drugs. Well, that's how it seems. Anyway, I want to give you, for your audience, I want to give the reasons why I loved my pain. The few... That the cat of someone.
Rose's grandson.
Yeah, I better leave. It's been lovely meeting you, Gila, and thank you for a lovely, lovely, informative session. It really has. But I need to go because it sounds like I've got a whole lot of company
You
here.
are a Wonder Woman, Rose. I'll see you later on, Rose. I'll say goodbye
thank
to
you
you
so
in a few minutes.
much.
So continue. Why you love your pain?
I loved my pain because the few days which I had the pain, they were the days that I started to learn Bodish. Because I had the pain, I had to work together with my body to even move without pain.
Right.
Or to find a way to move with the least pain I could endure.
Right.
I could not do that exercise unless I had pain.
You needed to have the pain to learn that.
Yes.
I love it.
I'll tell you how I started. Because don't forget that even breathing was hurtful. Because if I had broken bones in my chest, even breathing is hurtful.
Sure.
Okay? My first exercise was to reach my hand to the table next to me in order to take the glass of water. That in itself, the first time, took me more than 25 minutes.
Mm.
Why? Because it wasn't the point of reaching the water. The point was to talk to my body and say, right, body, we're going to do that movement together. And you're going to direct me and show me the best way of doing that movement with the least pain.
And you needed the pain to learn how to do that.
If the pain wasn't there, I couldn't do that. Because when pain is not there, we do not feel our body.
So powerful.
We can only feel our body when it's painful.
So pain can teach us mindfulness
Of course.
and awareness
And body.
and bodish.
It can give you the exercise to learn how to speak to your body. And I'm telling you how I did it. I actually said, okay, body, we're going to do it together. I used to speak out loud, which used to make me laugh. And I used to say to my body, okay, let's try. Now, the screen is not big enough, so it was something like, okay, let's move this shoulder a little bit less. It was tiny, tiny movements. And on every little movement like that, I would ask my body, from here, or from here, or from here, or from here. And I wanted my body to show me the way to the water with the least pain I could endure.
Wow.
If I didn't have pain, I would never speak Bodish.
What a gift. Thank you, pain.
Thank you, pain. Look, if you have nothing wrong with your body, you don't feel it at all. But if you have the littlest cut in your finger, suddenly your finger, you notice it.
And the body only deals with one pain at a time. All of a sudden, one big thing will hurt, another thing will. So it's interesting.
Exactly.
Wow. So what? So we're gonna wind up there. There's still some people listening, which is amazing, and I would just love, I've tried to make some points because.
Absolutely.
Look, you're not the typical person, and yet you're not a guru sitting on the mountain. You're not the Dalai Lama. You're not the Pope.
I'm a crazy woman.
Okay. So, but what you have is accessible. It's not reachable. People can they say they can even start to do it and then have the habit. They don't have to even, they say, fake it till you make it. I believe in that.
Ask
Just
Liliana.
start to do it. Start to behave that way.
Ask Liliana.
So,
because seriously, this is the basic that every person with cancer needs to learn. Regardless if they're going to the doctors or if they're going to alternative, they need to learn this information. Because only us in here. Liliana is writing.
She said, that's mind blowing. If I didn't have pain, I wouldn't speak Badish. What a new concept.
Of course. That was especially for you because you're dealing with pain, Tova. That's the reason why.
Yeah. No, it's yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And sorry, I have blank. I forgot what we were talking about.
No, it's okay. We're talking about pain and giving tools and insights to our listeners that they can apply these. This is not...
It's basic. Everybody
it's
needs
basic,
to know.
but it's and people. It is true. We don't have the basics, but we can learn. Everything's on the internet. We can read. We can Google. We can call Tova. We can call Rose.
We can hardly get.
Gila.
But
I left your website. Your website is on. It's in construction, but you're available. Tell me your email again, so I'll write it on here.
My personal email is Shefa. SAD FFA 91 @gmail.com.
Okay. I can contact you. You can also reach us through, I can always, you're my good friend, and I'm so blessed to be in your life and you're in my life. And you will be teaching. Yeah, because I don't think people need to have cancer to learn this. Honestly, it can be a great preventative course. So I'm not, I attracted you in my life for a reason, so I can be prepared for the next chapter of my life and give my soul, lots of love and woo. The driver is the soul, the brain. I mean, the way that you created this, and this was all the 4.5 months you were your most creative. I mean, you were a film producer, and now you were the most creative with cancer. And then the cancer's gone and you're a little less creative. So, anyway, if there's any other questions out there, we're going to wound up. It's been an hour and 15 minutes. And so there's been some nice comments. People have been inspired, and some people who haven't been on the show for a while have come tonight. So hi, Celine and Louise. I'm always happy to see you from Scotland. Cheryl woke up from Australia because it's probably about 7 there. Rose gets up at 4 a.m., wow. Goes live at 5 a.m. Wow. So God bless her. Yeah. Anyway, I will bring you back. We'll do a series of each driver.
With pleasure.
I mean, unbelievable.
But again, it's very difficult. It's not like taking little bits and pieces. If a person has cancer, he needs to know it all.
I know, it's true.
Because after 3 days, I cannot be available, because if I will be available for longer than the workshop, they will start to lean on me instead of on themselves.
It's true. No, because people can become very codependent.
Exactly. And I designed that workshop so it will give them all the information, so then they can go and they do it themselves. Because seriously, I can take them to the gate. I can take them to the gate of how to talk to the body and how to talk to the soul. What happened from there on, it's up to them. Yeah. It has nothing to do with me. Yeah. I believe there's God over here, and every person have his own route to take in this life.
So true.
And if you want to know your specific way to heal, you don't need to get this information from me or from anybody else outside of yourself. You need to take it from your body and your soul. They're the only correct places where you will have the best correct information for you, specific.
So another take-home insight is listening. Listen to yourself. And I love what you said about the desert. The voice of the desert is silence? No.
When the desert speaks, I become quiet.
When the desert speaks, I become quiet. I mean, it's just so beautiful. And on that note, we'll see you in the desert someday soon. We'll meet halfway between London and Pardes Khan, and it'll be somewhere in the desert with the Bedouins, which I have a whole new feel about the Bedouins.
Oh,
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah, really fascinating. You must come back. I say it to so many guests, but I really want you to come back. I
I
really
will
want to
try.
do part two.
Oh, definitely, with pleasure.
And Rose
Well,
being a nurse and a midwife, I think we really, just like it was just wonderful to talk with you. And I know Rose and I enjoyed like whatever. I think Rose, this has been a really special show. And Rose and I will have a lot to talk about. And uh, just anyone out there, we're just so happy you've stayed on. There's people still watching, and just blessings to you, inspiration to you. I mean, between Marav and I mean, Gila was on Marav and I shows, the show in Hebrew, and it was enormously inspiring. And at that point, I didn't have someone translating. So now I get to hear it, even though you're my friend and we talk a lot. It's like to hear it from this end is just, I'm in awe. I'm in awe. And the beauty of it is like, it's accessible. I don't want any of this to scare people like, oh,
no,
it's accessible. It's right here for the taking.
let me just do one shout out. I think that's the way they say.
Yes.
Milena, who is on the chat right now.
Yes. Hi, Milena. So good to see you, dearest. Yeah. Yeah.
Milena is an amazing woman from Sweden that we just finished workshop with her, and she gave me a permission to expose it and shoot it all and record it. So very shortly on my website, we're going to put all the workshop that Milena took, which is about 60 hours of videos, that will be available for people to purchase and to be able to learn.
Amazing. So
Milena just healed from cancer as well, and she just journey.
So
Milena, love you. Thank you.
So we'll see you all next week. We're going to be here for a long time, and healing and helping people. And Gili, I'm so happy to be in the front seat with you and the soul, and our souls to be together. I love you, my dear. I'm so happy that we're in each other's life. And blessings to everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful rest of the night. And this will be on our YouTube channel under TMS Roundtable. You can see the whole. And I love this star that we're on together. I'm really blessed. So thank you so much. All the best. Lila Tov.
Lila Tov, just put the